Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As I earlier on said, it was the circumstance that pushed me to do that. And
you still can be waxing the theory of circumstance, but you see, there are electoral rules. Polling station conduct is governed by law. If you have grievances, there are in our laws provisions for the management of those grievances. So whatever the circumstance must be, you have sworn an oath to uphold the Constitution and the laws of Ghana, including those electoral laws, which is what should provide you cover that if you felt dissatisfied about anything, not to go to reduce it to a jungle warfare, pardon my word. Why did you do that? What circumstance could have provoked you to that level?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I will also want to put on record that yes, there was a name of a polling station there, but it did not happen at the polling station. It happened outside the polling center, about 150 meters away that it happened. And I still say I regret for that. It's under investigation. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. My follow-up questions have more or less, been answered in your answer, to the extent that I was going to ask whether, with the benefit of hindsight, if the circumstances played out again as it did on that day, would your reaction be the same as it was on those occasions? Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
No, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Are you done?
Mr. Chairman, I just want to, as I said, now, some said in relation to those incidents that you didn't fire the weapon, that somebody else fired, that you did not personally fire any firearm, and that they put it in quote that a gangster fired the weapon, but you decided to take one for your team. Is that correct?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As I said, the case is under investigation. So I will plead if I can be excused, since I don't want to say much into it. Thank you.
Very well. Yeah,
thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Honorable nominee, it is estimated that Ghanaians consume over 1 million metric tons of fish annually, and production of fish in Ghana hovers around 400,000 metric tons, indicating a huge gap between production and consumption of fish in Ghana. How do you propose to address this situation?
Mr. Chairman, I don't know whether I have a hearing problem. I'm not getting the sound very well. So if you can still ask the question.
Okay, let me repeat for you. I said Ghanaians consume over 1 million metric tons of fish annually. Our production is around 400,000 metric tons in Ghana, indicating that we have a huge gap between consumption of fish in Ghana and production. How do you propose to address this situation, to close the gap?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As the Honorable Member rightly mentioned, Mr. Chairman, the population that consume the animal protein, fish, are more than what we are able to get from the fishing. When giving the nod, I know my predecessor started some aquaculture projects. That is aquaculture, youth and jobs. Is it youth in creating jobs? And I think when we introduce, we enhance, it's youth in aquaculture. Youth in aquaculture and jobs. Yeah. Youth in aquaculture and jobs. Mr. Chairman, when we enhance the aquaculture sector, it will increase the production of fish for consumption in the country.
Now, my second question. You know, Ghana is the 4th largest producer of tuna in the world and the 1st in the whole of Africa. But the tuna sector is being confronted with a lot of challenges. Tuna alone rakes in an average of $350 million annually. $350 million. But the pole and line tuna is seriously challenged. To be able to catch more tuna, the pole and line method use what is called anchovies. This is what we describe as the Keter schoolboys, as a bait to be able to get the tuna. And to be able to catch the bait, the anchovies, they have to use light. I know there's a law that criminalizes the use of light to catch fish in this country. Because of this, that sector is verging on collapse. As we speak, out of 20 pole and line vessels, only 5 of them are active. So there is the immediate need, the urgent need, for us to bring back that business, to be able to rake in more dollars and, stabilize the exchange rate. What do you think must be done to be able to revive the pole and line subsector?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. When giving the law, the nod, I think we'll have to enforce the laws on fishing in this country. As you rightly mentioned, when they use lighting system, it's unauthorized way of fishing. And so since it is in the law, we're going to enforce on the laws. Thank you.
Honorable, okay. The enforcement of the law is your responsibility. You have to do it. It's saying that as you enforce this law, one other part of fishing is collapsing, tuna fishing. Do you have any agenda to increase or approve or improve tuna fishing?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. What I know is the pressure on the fishing fleet is so high. And so we'll have to look at how we're going to manage it. And also, we'll also, like I said, to enforce the law on the fishing, because they need to, we need to make sure that the right equipment are used for the fishing. And when the rights of equipment are being used at the right time, and we'll also introduce the closed season for the fishing industry. It will increase the tuna for us.
You said we have to use the right accoutrements, implements. Specifically, what implements are you talking about when you say right implements?
Come again.
In your answer, you said we have to use the right tools. What specific tools are you talking about?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We'll talk about the fishing gears. The fishing gears, yeah, it's one of the fishing tools.
Yes, we have one.
Yes, sir. Mr. Chairman, there is a worrisome development in the fisheries sector that must be dealt with forthwith. It's about plastics in our fisheries resources, plastics. Now, when the fishers cast the net in anticipation of harvesting fish, they end up harvesting 85%. The total harvest that they will have, 85% will be plastics. And this is seriously affecting our resources. How would you tackle this menace of plastics in our fisheries resources?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think it all boils to our environment, how to keep the environment clean. So, in collaboration with the stakeholders at the fishing community and in consultation with the sanitation ministry and the relevant agencies, we'll discuss how to get rid of these plastics in our seas. And also, as I earlier on mentioned, we will also encourage the fishermen to use the right gears for the fishing. That is not supposed to maybe bring in these plastics out from the sea when they go for the fishing. When they use the right fishing gear, it's likely to save them from getting the plastics.
What is the per capita consumption of fish in Ghana?
Honorable, Honorable, per capita, how many kilos per if any individual consume? He eats bush meat, so you can count him out.
Every Ghanaian consumes 23 kilograms a year. That is the per capita consumption. So, Mr. Speaker, once you have not
You have had four is sufficient. You chose to answer that yourself. Yes. All right. Honorable Agaga.
Thank you. Honorable nominee, let me take you back to the infamous shooting incident that you have fully taken responsibility for. Now, the weapon you fired, was it your own weapon? If yes, did you license it lawfully? And if so, are you willing to furnish us with a copy of the license? Says who?
Hello, these are.
Mr. Speaker, says who?
Please, he didn't speak to the mic, so you can't respond to something that is not spoken to the mic. Honorable, what's your license, your gun license? That's all we need to know.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yes, the gun is mine and is duly licensed. Thank you.
Yeah.
Second leg of the question is, are you willing to furnish us with a copy of the license?
What will you do with that? The police is investigating that. They will need it. Ask another question, please.
The now defunct ministry, of which you were minister superintendent over the development authorities, but my focus is on the Northern Development Authority. Are you able to tell this committee how the Northern Development Authority rolled out development projects in the various constituencies that comes under its jurisdiction? What criteria did they use to roll out their activities in the various constituencies?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, prior to the operationalization of the development authorities, when the Ministry of Special Development Initiative took over, we did needs assessments throughout the country, which was handed over to the development authorities. So based on that, and in collaboration with the MMDCs, that they did those developments of the projects in every constituency. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, the needs assessments that were done clearly was incorporated in the medium-term expenditure framework of your ministry, which was duly presented to this House for approval. Is that correct? The needs assessment you just alluded to formed part of your medium expenditure framework 2020 to 2023, which was presented to this House and duly approved. Is that correct?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
So it would be out of place for parliamentary candidates to lay claims as having lobbied for development projects undertaken by the development authorities.
Ask another question, man. What the parliamentary candidate says or does not say.
Oh, Mr. Speaker, I have a specific question that I want to tease
Ask
out.
that question, but what a parliamentary candidate says or does not say has nothing to do with her.
Oh,
You're asking her, it is out of place for a parliamentary candidate to make. That's asking her opinion of whether she thinks it's right or not. That's not.
oh, Mr. Speaker, am I entitled to make a specific reference and put it to her because she was the minister with, oversight responsibility over the development authority?
She made a claim like that. If it is not her, but somebody else, then she can't answer what somebody else says. If she said that, put it to her.
But can I suggest it to her, and if it ever came to her notice, what action she must have taken would be a legitimate question.
If that's admissible, I will allow it.
Very well. Now, Honorable Nominee, I'd like to refer you to a publication which appeared on Ghana Web on the 9th April 2020, and it was reported that Mr. David, and I'm quoting, Sei Dema, an MPP parliamentary candidate for the Bole Bamboy constituency, cut sword for the construction of market stores, 3-unit class blocks, and a clinic with funding from the Northern Development Authority. Did this matter come to your attention?
No, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, Honorable Diamond.
Thank you very much. Congratulations, Minister. Minister, I'm sure you've been briefed on the coastline of Ghana, that we have about 550 kilometers of coastline from Aflao area to Alubo. The President started this program of building a lot of fish landing ports under the Ministry of Transport with the support and collaboration of the Fisheries Ministry. It's a laudable project. I know of the one at Winneba, Mountford, Axim, Teshi, Odododio, Jamestown. What is your brief on this project, and how are you going to collaborate with the Transport Minister to ensure that the hard-working fisher folk get the required benefits from these ports that government is sinking so much into? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. If I heard you right, I think it's a laudable idea, and I'm going to continue with the initiative. Thank you.
Secondly, Minister, those of us in the Middle Belt, we hear a lot about premix issues. There's a committee and a lot of fishermen will be talking, granting interviews. It's always an unending saga with premix. Dissolution of committees, shortage of committees, premix and landing sites. It's sometimes disturbing. What is the real issue with premix issues, and what can you do to solve some of the age-old problems associated with its distribution and any other problem? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yes, we've heard a lot about the issues of premix fuel. Fishermen, the right people are not getting it, or it's being diverted one way or the other. Mr. Chairman, I know very well that improving on the Vice President in collaboration with the Fisheries Commission and the former minister have tracked the vehicles for the distribution of the fuel. Mr. Chairman, when I get the nod, I'm going to take it from there and make sure that this premise will be available for all fishermen at the fishing site to do their fishing. And I will also introduce some other measures that will help to mitigate the shortage of premise fuel. Thank you.
Yes, Honorable Ahi.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I want to find out from the honorable nominee. Honorable nominee, what is fish farming? What is fish farming? And what are some of the advantages of fish farming?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I will try my best. Fish farming is the process of rearing of fish in the reservoirs and the fish ponds, etc. Thank you.
And some advantages. I think OBM1 is just disturbing.
He said, what are some advantages of a fish farming? Honorable Member, please, I said, what are the advantages of fish farming?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. One advantage of fish farming is it makes the farmer earn some income. It also increases fish in our community for consumption. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I think we are here to work as colleagues. As colleagues. But the honorable nominee perfectly answered the question. So what is
Can I have some order, please? Honorable, please ask the question.
Oh.
Can I have some order, please?
Mr. Chairman.
So you can continue to do that. So when I also speak from here, will it be fair?
Under the...
You are speaking from there as well.
Sorry,
Can we go?
Aite.
It's not fair. Look at what you say. You can't go ahead. My problem is that you stop maintaining the.
Can I have some order, please?
Honorable Chairman, when Honorable Shari Aite was Minister for the sector that you are going, when approved, a number of coal stores were built across the regions. All of these, a number of coal stores, all of these are now white elephants. What will you do about them? For instance, you go to Jamestown, Cape Coast, Azim, and Mumford and so on. What will you do about them?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, when given the nod, I will find out what exactly the problems are with the coal stores, and we will revive them accordingly. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, in the 2016 manifesto of MPP, the government promised $1 million per constituency. The honorable nominee, in 29th November 2019, said that all 275 constituencies have received $1 million each. Can you tell this committee how much from that promise did each constituency receive by the end of 2020, and what they use it for in those constituencies?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. If I got you well, was it for only 2029 to 2020?
You said that in 2019. It was 2019 when you said all 275 have received $1 million. That's what I want to find out from you. By the end of 2020, how much of that promise did each constituency receive? And what was it used for?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm not very sure I said they have received $1 million per constituency. It's a budget allocation. So as and when the projects are being executed, then the money is being paid. But honestly, Mr. Chairman, it will be very difficult for me to tell because we have the development authorities. And as I mentioned earlier on, that we did needs assessment from the beginning. And based on the needs assessment, they still review it. They still review it in collaboration with the stakeholders and the MMDCs to know the exact project that they need at that particular time. So I cannot pinpoint exactly what projects were used, the money was used for in the constituencies, if I got you right. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable. Here is Honorable Joseph.
Congratulations, Honorable Nominee. The Fisheries Act mandates the minister responsible for fisheries and aquaculture to declare open and closed fishing season to conserve marine species. However, we know the difficulties in trying to enforce this open and closed season. As a minister, what are you going to do to ensure we are able to execute the mandate in the Act.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, when giving the nod, I will continue with what my predecessor started in collaboration with the fishermen to do a lot of consultation before we can reintroduce it.
Chairman, the nominee keeps saying fishermen. Are there no women in the industry?
Do you know any fisherwoman yourself?
Maybe use fisher folk to protect yourself, because it's not just men. There are women whose livelihoods depend on fisheries and related aquaculture matters. Thank you, Chair.
John, are you done? Okay. Honorable Ayari.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Directly following the minority leader's question, what policy directions or policy plans do you have to improve the lot of women in the fishing industry? What policy plans do you have to improve the lot of women in the fishing industry?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Looking at the fishing industry, I believe there are lots of women in that chain. And first of all, as I will do consultation with them,
You have
we'll
said
also empower.
there's a lot of women in that chain. Where are the women in the chain?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, right from the coast to the market.
That is the selling part. Is that right? The marketing part is where the women are.
Yes, please.
So that's where your policy direction will be, I suspect.
Sorry?
So that's where your policy direction would be, that the question is asking.
Yes, please.
So how will you help the women in the marketing of the fish?
By empowering them, Mr. Chairman.
Very well.
Okay. I know that you do more for them in terms of loans and stuff once you are given the nod. In terms of credit facilities, among others. Okay. So my next question, what is your take on mariculture and how do you intend pursuing that? Mariculture. What is your take on mariculture and how do you intend pursuing that?
I think we are confused. Is it marine culture or mariculture?
No, the correct one is mariculture or marine farming. So you can either say mariculture or marine farming. It's the same thing, but not marine culture. Mariculture or marine farming. Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My plan is to enhance the sector by improving their way of the farming, increasing of the fishing fleets, introducing the closed season for them to get more catch. If I'm right, I don't know, but I didn't get your question very well.
You're done. Okay, very well. Yes,
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Honorable nominees, I'm taking you back to the shooting incident. And I'm taking you back because it is a matter of serious public interest. In the wake of the shooting incident, the Ghana Bar Association issued a statement. And in their statement, they said, it is regrettable that the suspects in one instance include a minister who is also a lawmaker. And based on the same shooting, 21st, 2020, as a minister of state. Now, the question that I would want to ask is that when you appeared before the vetting committee on the 10th of February 2017 to be considered as minister, among other things, you promised to champion youth development. However, you have earned titles such as Kaswa Van Dam, Robocop, Chuck Norris, which have resulted in...
Honorable Susu.
No, Mr. Chair, these are popular perceptions I'm making reference to.
Who gave her those titles?
No, my lord,
Don't, please. Those are not acceptable on the floor of the House. Right. What nicknames each of us have if we use them here? Please ask your question.
Very, Mr. Chair. So my question is that what measures have you put in place since becoming a champion for youth development in Ghana, other than the perception of violence?
Are you a champion of youth in Ghana?
Mr. Chair, that is what he said in the Hansard, and I can refer to the Hansard.
He says she will champion youth issues. That doesn't make her a champion of youth development.
Well, Mr. Chairman, so I wanted to tell the committee what she did to champion the cause of youth in Ghana.
Yes, please answer. What did you do to assist the youth in the country?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Assisting the youth in the country, I used my office, my previous office, in getting work for the youth. One, through the constructions that were done in various constituencies. It created jobs for them to be engaged in various ways.
Honorable Nominee, I believe that
if you follow up, yes, kindly hold on, yes.
The honorable member had used titles, unfortunate titles on the nominee, and I seek
ruled the
and it should be expunged from the records.
They will be.
Thank you.
Please continue.
Honorable Nominee, you would accept that your office as a Minister of State is a very, very high office, and people will be demanding high standards from you. How genuine is your apology covering the gun shooting that you just did before this committee?
Honorable Member, when you say how genuine, what do you mean? So
Mr. Chair, I'm sure the nominee understands the question because Mr. Chair, at least the apology must come with some commitment not to repeat those things again.
Do we have it? Sorry, Mike, please. When you say how genuine, are you going to measure or so ask a clear question, a question that is answerable. When you say how genuine, I don't see how you measure genuineness or otherwise.
Very well, Mr. Chair. I believe that it was an added opportunity for the nominee to tell Ghanaians and to reassure Ghanaians that she is committed to the apologies that she made before the committee and that she's genuine about it.
Yes, Honorable, they want to assure.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I assure the committee that it's genuine. Thank you.
Well, the third question is that, will you say that the Akufo-Addo administration has achieved its vision of one village, one dam, one constituency, $1 million, and the objectives of the 3 development authorities you were responsible for as a Minister for Special Development Initiatives?
Yes.
Thank you for the correction.
Honorable member, please answer the question. Ignore their sides, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. If the question can be taken again.
Well, to repeat the question, I'm saying that you were the Minister for Special Development Initiatives. Would you see that your government achieved the objectives of one village, one dam, one constituency, $1 million? No, but that's the question. You want me to, I just paraphrased it.
Yes, please. Did your government achieve those objectives? Your answer, please.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, we achieved the objective of the ministry.
So every village has one dam now in Ghana. Every constituency had their $1 million.
Honorable, please, you're done. You're done. Yes.
So you can do so now.
Honorable Suhili, now you may ask your question. Yes, you may ask your question.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Honorable nominee, I'll also take you back to the first question that you answered. You indicated that the matter is there are a number of issues, though, that come up. Because I have read about 2 incidents of gunshots, one during the registration and the other during the elections. Which of them are you claiming responsibility for? And given your repeated assertion that this matter is under investigation, what will you say to the committee if it is decided that a decision on your nomination be deferred until investigations into this matter is over?
That's not a question to ask her. The first question, can you repeat so she will answer? Is that you asked her whether there were two shootings. Which one is she taking responsibility for?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, and I'm asking if she thinks that it will be fair for this committee to defer a decision on her nomination until the investigation is over.
Can they leave that to the committee? Yes, Honorable. He says there were 2 shooting incidents. Which one? First, were there 2 shooting incidents?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. In my answering this, I mentioned that the incidents on the 20th of July, 2020. Thank you.
Yes.
Honorable nominee, in relation to your former role as minister responsible for special initiatives, I want you to address a number of issues relating to procurement breaches, and reported or alleged theft. One has to do with some tricycles that got missing, for which the CEO of the Northern Development Authority had to write to the Ghana Police to carry out an investigation into the missing tricycles.
So you know, add the name and then the reference letter of the letter, please.
Thank you. I have here letter dated 12 December 2019, CEO, Northern Development Authority, A.M. Harun, acting CEO actually, A.M. Harun, writing to the Ghana Police Service, Divisional Commander Lama Shebu Circuit, Tamale, to carry out, the letter is report on tricycle distribution. And then in this report, a request is made to the police commander to carry out investigation. I also have a reply of the Superintendent Regional Crime Officer, K. Otua Champon, to the CEO of the NDA at the time. And again, I have copies of letters here that I will share with you and the committee, where the new CEO wrote to contractors demanding to increase contract sums and bid by 5% because the party needed some funds. And the letter I will share with you is 12 March 2020.
Clarity, letter from...
The letter from the NDA.
To who?
To a number of contractors. This one is, the reference number is NDA IPEP 03 501816, signed by the new CEO, Dr. Al-Hassan Suleimana Anamzoya, and the authority stamp is there, and it reads, I write to inform you of management decision to charge contractors and suppliers executing IPEP projects extra fees of 5% of the contract sum to help the party in the upcoming general elections. Any contractor who fails to pay these fees will lose his or her contract. Furthermore, any contractor or supplier on his or her own volition pay for extra charges to the consultants only on their own request to perform any extra activity for them and be paid for accordingly. This must not be seen as part of NDA IPEP charges. We will count on your usual cooperation and support. It's a letter I have just requested for it to be.
First, let's clear.
Yes.
Was
And then
it
I also
addressed to her? First, was it addressed to her? Was the letter addressed to her?
Mr. Chairman, no.
Wait, I just want to be sure before. Was the letter addressed to her or her office?
Mr. Chairman, the authorities operate under her ministry
Hold it,
supervision.
Chairman, with your indulgence. I think what...
With all due respect.
Hold it, let me get Chairman's indulgence. You are holding her responsible as supervising minister for the Northern Development Authority.
First,
First,
we want to know, you said the letter was written by somebody. It was addressed to who?
the CEO.
It was addressed to who?
I said this was addressed to contractors who were executing contracts under the IPEP program.
Very well. Well, and I would just want
Mr.
to find
Chairman,
out
I'm not
whether
done.
she
There are
is
more
aware.
letters. There are more letters related to this
Don't
one.
worry. If they came, if you were addressed to her, then it means that she must have received it. If it is not addressed to her, I want to find out whether she is aware before you follow up with your questions on that. Right? You have said they are not addressed to her. They are addressed to contractors. Honorable, are you aware that your If I was CEO of what?
Northern Development.
Northern Development.